Lesson proper for Week 7 completion. Requirements introduction. The concept of the physical self revolves around our body, which is often referred to as a marvelous container that allows us to interact with the environment and others. This part of ourselves is concrete and observable, and it is through this body that we engage with the world around us. Our physical appearance, including our features, posture, and even adornments, plays a vital role in how we perceive ourselves and how others view us. This module will delve into body adornment, attractiveness, and body modification, and explore how these aspects influence our identity, self-esteem, and the broader cultural standards of beauty. Body adornment and attractiveness. When we talk about the physical self, we often discuss attractiveness, which refers to qualities that appeal to others. According to researchers Myers and Twenge, 2017, attractiveness is subjective, but it does play a significant role in how people perceive and interact with each other. For instance, in some cultures, physical attractiveness might focus on traits like symmetry of the face, clear skin, or a certain body shape, while in others, unique body modifications or adornments might be the standard. Historically, as De Mello, 2014, explains, cultural standards of beauty have significantly influenced personal and social identities. People modify and adorn their bodies as part of this complex process. One clear example of this is tattooing. Tattoos have been a form of body adornment for centuries, used not only as decoration but also as a means of expressing one's identity. In certain cultures, tattoos mark rites of passage, group affiliations, or personal beliefs. While some people view tattoos as rebellious, others see them as deeply meaningful representations of their identity at a given point in time. Example: tattoos and self-identity. Think of a young woman who decides to get a tattoo to symbolize an important event in her life, such as graduating from college or overcoming a personal struggle. For her, this tattoo is more than just an image on her skin. It represents her identity at that specific moment. However, as time passes, her identity may evolve, and she might choose to add more tattoos or even remove one, signaling a shift in how she sees herself. This example illustrates how body adornment, like tattoos, can be closely linked to self-identity and the ever-changing nature of who we are. Body adornment across cultures. Body adornment doesn't stop at tattoos. In many cultures, people enhance their bodies through painting, piercing, and wearing various forms of jewelry or clothing. For example, in certain African and indigenous tribes, body painting is a temporary form of adornment used during rituals, ceremonies, or significant life events. The paint may signify affiliation with a group or tribe, or it may be used to mark someone's role in a specific event, such as a wedding or a coming-of-age ceremony. In modern society, while body painting is often seen at festivals or performances, piercings and tattoos are more common forms of self-expression. A teenager who gets a nose piercing might do so to reflect their individuality or to fit in with a peer group, showing how cultural and social trends influence personal choices about body adornment. Body modification. Body modification, a more permanent form of altering the physical self, includes practices such as tattooing, surgery, and extreme modifications like scarification. Some forms of body modification are deeply rooted in cultural traditions, while others may be seen as personal statements of rebellion or individuality. For instance, body piercings, once a significant part of cultural rituals, have become mainstream in many societies. People often pierce their ears, noses, or other parts of their bodies to wear jewelry. This act, which was once highly ritualistic, has shifted in meaning over time, but still serves as a form of adornment that communicates something about the wearer. Bodybuilding is another form of body modification, though it differs from piercings or tattoos in that it involves physically altering the body through muscle development. Unlike traditional sports, bodybuilding focuses on displaying the body itself rather than using it to perform a skill. Competitors go through rigorous training, dieting, and sculpting to achieve a particular look, emphasizing the aesthetic rather than functional aspects of the body. Extreme forms of body modification. There are also extreme forms of body modification that go beyond what is generally accepted by society. These include practices such as amputation, or more unusual cases, like people modifying their appearance to resemble animals. For instance, individuals like Eric Sprague, known as the Lizard Man, or Dennis Avner, known as Stalking Cat, have altered their bodies through extreme tattooing, implants, and surgeries to reflect their desire to look like animals. Body dysmorphic disorder and anorexia. In some cases, the desire to modify or control the physical self is linked to psychological disorders. Body dysmorphic disorder is a condition where an individual becomes obsessed with perceived flaws in their appearance. This disorder can lead to excessive body modifications or cosmetic surgeries. Similarly, individuals with anorexia nervosa or bulimia nervosa struggle with their body image and engage in harmful behaviors like extreme dieting, purging, or overexercising in an attempt to control their physical appearance. These cases highlight how societal pressure and personal dissatisfaction with the physical self can lead to unhealthy extremes in body modification. Beauty, self-esteem, and culture. Beauty is often viewed through both biological and cultural lenses. Evolutionary theory suggests that certain physical traits, like a symmetrical face or an hourglass figure, are universally attractive because they signal health and fertility. However, cultural factors also play a huge role in defining beauty. For instance, in some cultures, a fuller body might be seen as a sign of wealth and prosperity, while in others, a lean physique is prized. Your own self-esteem is often influenced by how closely you believe you match these cultural standards of beauty. The spotlight effect refers to the belief that others are paying more attention to our appearance than they really are, while the illusion of transparency makes us feel that our emotions are easily readable by others when, in fact, they are not. Consider how societal standards of beauty affect your own self-esteem. Are there moments when you feel pressured to conform to certain ideals? How do these standards influence your self-worth and how you see yourself? Lesson proper for Week 8 Completion Requirements Part 1. The reproductive system. The reproductive system is responsible for the production and maturation of sex cells, ensuring the continuation of species. In both males and females, the system is composed of primary and secondary reproductive organs. The female reproductive system includes the ovaries, which produce egg cells and hormones such as estrogen and progesterone. The egg cells are released into the fallopian tubes, where fertilization by a sperm may occur. The fertilized egg then travels to the uterus, where it implants in the uterine lining and begins to develop into a fetus. The vagina serves as the birth canal during childbirth and as the passage for menstrual flow. On the other hand, the male reproductive system centers around the testes, which produce sperm and testosterone. Mature sperm are stored in the epididymis before being transporting through the vas deferens to the urethra during ejaculation, the prostate gland. And seminal vesicles provide fluids that mix with the sperm, forming semen. The penis is the external organ responsible for delivering semen during sexual intercourse. Reference: https://www.nees.gov/health/topics/conditions/reprohealth Part 2. Biological changes in reproduction. As individuals age, their reproductive systems undergo changes. The climacteric period marks the time when fertility begins to decline. For women, this transition is most noticeable with the onset of menopause, which typically occurs in the late 40s or early 50s. Menopause signals the end of menstruation and reproductive capability. Symptoms of menopause include hot flashes, mood swings, and night sweats. Some women choose to undergo hormone replacement therapy, HRT, to manage these symptoms, where estrogen and progestin are used to balance hormone levels. For men, the climacteric period does not result in sudden infertility, but there is a gradual decrease in sperm production and testosterone levels. While men can remain fertile well into older age, they may experience reduced sexual drive and performance due to hormonal changes. Part 3. The human sexual response cycle. Human sexual response follows a sequence of phases, each contributing to the overall experience of sexual arousal and satisfaction. The first phase, excitement, is triggered by physical or mental stimulation. During this phase, blood flow increases to the sexual organs, resulting in physical changes such as the erection of the penis in males and lubrication of the vagina in females. The next phase, plateau, involves heightened sexual arousal. Breathing becomes faster, muscles tense, and the body prepares for orgasm. Both men and women experience increased sensitivity in their genital areas, with the clitoris becoming more sensitive in females and the testicles drawing closer to the body in males. Orgasm is the climax of the sexual response cycle. In males, it is accompanied by the ejaculation of semen, while females experience rhythmic contractions of the vaginal and pelvic muscles. Orgasm is often followed by feelings of intense pleasure and satisfaction. Finally, the resolution phase occurs, where the body gradually returns to its normal, non-aroused state. This phase is marked by a sense of relaxation and well-being as the muscles relax, and blood pressure and heart rate normalize. Unlike men, who typically experience a refractory period during which they cannot achieve another orgasm, women may be capable of experiencing multiple orgasms without a refractory period. Part 4. Psychosexual development. Sigmund Freud's theory of psychosexual development suggests that personality is shaped through 5 stages of sexual development: oral, anal, phallic, latency, and genital. Oral stage 0 year. This stage focuses on the mouth as the primary source of pleasure for infants. According to Freud, fixation in this stage may lead to issues with dependency or aggression in adulthood. Anal stage 1-3 years. During this stage, pleasure focuses on controlling bladder and bowel movements. Freud believed that overly strict toilet training could result in an anal-retentive personality, characterized by obsessiveness and rigidity. Phallic stage 3-6 years. In this stage, the child's libido centers on the genitals. Freud introduced the Oedipus and Electra complexes, suggesting that children experience unconscious desires for the opposite-sex parent while identifying with the same-sex parent. Latency stage 6 puberty. Sexual interests subside, and children focus on developing social skills, friendships, and intellectual growth. This stage allows for the development of self-confidence and interpersonal relationships. Genital stage, puberty adulthood. In the final stage, sexual impulses reawaken as individuals reach sexual maturity. Successful development through the earlier stages leads to the ability to form healthy romantic relationships in adulthood. Conclusion: understanding the reproductive system, the human sexual response cycle, and Freud's psychosexual stages are key to comprehending human sexuality and personality development. As you progress through this module, reflect on the biological, psychological, and social factors that contribute to your own development and understanding of sexuality. Lesson proper for Week 9 completion: requirements biology of love and chemistry of love. In understanding the complexities of human relationships, we begin with attraction, a term often used to describe the initial spark between two individuals. For instance, imagine 2 students in a cafe. As one notices the other's smile and unique style, a sense of attraction ignites. This attraction is primarily physical and varies according to personal preferences, but it's essential to recognize that it's just the first step toward a deeper connection. While this initial spark can lead to profound feelings, it's not enough to sustain a lasting relationship. Once attraction paves the way, individuals often navigate through various dimensions of love. Robert J. Sternberg's triarchic theory of love is instrumental in understanding these dynamics. The theory describes love as a triangle composed of 3 main dimensions: passion, intimacy, and commitment. Picture a couple who share a deep physical attraction and also enjoy long conversations about their dreams and fears. This combination of passion and intimacy can create a vibrant romantic relationship. However, as they encounter challenges, perhaps one faces job loss or health issues, they must also engage in commitment. Commitment involves their decision to stand by each other, which can deepen their bond even further. Sternberg identifies several forms of love based on the presence or absence of these components. Non-love describes casual interactions with acquaintances, where there is no emotional investment. On the other hand, friendship embodies intimacy without romantic passion, like the bond shared between lifelong friends who support each other through thick and thin. Consider a scenario where someone experiences infatuated love. For example, a high school student develops a crush on a classmate, filled with excitement and daydreams, but lacking the depth of commitment or intimacy. This stage, often characterized by fleeting thoughts and butterflies, could potentially evolve into a more profound relationship as intimacy develops over time. Now, let's reflect on empty love. Imagine a couple in a long-term marriage where the initial passion has fizzled out and intimacy has waned. They continue to fulfill their roles as spouses, but lack emotional closeness or desire, leading to a situation where their relationship becomes more of a contractual arrangement than a loving partnership. In contrast, romantic love combines passion and intimacy, often seen in new relationships where physical attraction is intense, but the commitment aspect is still developing. For instance, 2 people who have just begun dating may feel a strong connection, but are still figuring out their future together. Companionate love, on the other hand, is evident in long-term partnerships where the emotional connection remains strong despite the absence of physical passion. Consider a couple who has been married for decades. Their bond is built on shared experiences and mutual respect rather than a fiery romantic connection. Then there's fatuous love, which could be likened to a whirlwind romance, such as a reality TV couple who marry after a short courtship but divorce within months. This type of love features a strong commitment and passion, but lacks the foundational intimacy necessary for lasting bonds. At the pinnacle of Sternberg's triangle is consummate love, often viewed as the ideal form. Picture an elderly couple who have shared their lives together for years, having nurtured their physical attraction, emotional closeness, and mutual commitment throughout their journey. They find joy in each other's company and have weathered life's storms together, representing the balance of all three components of love. Dr. Helen Fisher further breaks down love into categories involving different brain systems: lust, attraction, and attachment. Lust, driven by hormones like androgens and estrogens, fuels the initial desire for sexual gratification. For example, two individuals might find themselves irresistibly drawn to one another at a party, leading to a passionate encounter. As they explore their connection, the attraction phase kicks in, characterized by euphoric feelings and obsessive thoughts about each other. Picture someone unable to concentrate at work because they keep daydreaming about their new partner, their heart racing at the thought of seeing them again. Finally, the attachment phase develops over time, marked by a sense of calm and stability, where a couple feels comfortable and secure in their long-term relationship, driven by hormones like oxytocin. Through these various dimensions and types of love, we begin to understand the complex tapestry of human relationships, revealing the interplay between biological urges and emotional connections. Sexual orientation is a fundamental aspect of human identity, defining the enduring patterns of emotional, romantic, and sexual attractions individuals feel towards others. For example, consider a young woman who feels a deep emotional and romantic connection with another woman. She identifies as lesbian, which encompasses not just her attractions, but also her sense of self and belonging within a community that shares similar experiences. On the other end of the spectrum is heterosexual orientation, where individuals find themselves attracted to the opposite sex. Imagine a man who has always been drawn to women. His romantic relationships with them shape his understanding of love and intimacy. There are also those who identify as bisexual, feeling attraction towards both men and women. For instance, a person might date individuals of both genders, expressing a diverse range of romantic interests that transcend traditional labels. The understanding of sexual orientation has evolved over time. Until the late 19th century, society predominantly viewed individuals as strictly heterosexual or homosexual. Today, we recognize that sexual orientation exists on a continuum. A man might feel primarily attracted to women, but occasionally find himself drawn to men, reflecting the fluidity of sexual orientation. Despite this progress, sexual discrimination remains prevalent, manifesting in various forms. For example, a gay man might face harassment at work due to his sexual orientation, which could lead to a hostile work environment and impact his mental health. Surveys indicate that verbal abuse is a common experience among many lesbian, gay, and bisexual individuals, highlighting the need for ongoing discussions about acceptance and inclusion in society. The societal stigma surrounding homosexuality can have dire consequences. For instance, during the early years of the AIDS epidemic, many wrongly perceived the disease as a gay plague. This misunderstanding not only delayed the necessary medical response, but also fueled prejudice against the LGBTQ+ community, showcasing how discrimination can stem from a lack of knowledge and acceptance. Sexuality, transmitted diseases, and methods of contraception. Sexually transmitted diseases, STDs, are infections transmitted through sexual contact, with over 25 distinct infections recognized globally. Consider a scenario where an individual unknowingly contracts chlamydia after a brief encounter with a new partner. Because many STDs show no symptoms, this person might remain unaware of the infection, risking their health and that of future partners. If left untreated, STDs can lead to severe health issues. For example, untreated gonorrhea can result in infertility in both men and women. Picture a woman experiencing pelvic pain, but dismissing it as a minor issue, only to discover later that she has developed complications due to an undiagnosed infection. Several types of STDs exist, each with unique symptoms and treatment options. Syphilis, for instance, may start with a painless sore, but if untreated, it can escalate to more severe health issues, including paralysis or even death. Imagine someone who neglects to seek treatment for this initial sore, not realizing the serious consequences that await. Prevention is vital in the fight against STDs. For example, a sexually active couple decides to practice abstinence as a 100% effective means of prevention, while others may choose monogamous relationships with partners who have been tested. Regular checkups and screenings, like Pap tests for women and HIV testing, can significantly reduce the risk of transmission. Methods of contraception also play a critical role in managing sexual health. For instance, a young couple might decide to use condoms to prevent both pregnancy and STDs, providing a safer sexual experience. Alternatively, a woman may opt for a long-acting reversible contraceptive, such as an intrauterine device, IUD, for effective pregnancy prevention over several years. Understanding the various methods available, from hormonal contraception to permanent options like tubal ligation, allows individuals to make informed decisions that align with their reproductive goals and health needs. Through education and awareness, we can empower individuals to take charge of their sexual health and relationships, paving the way for healthier connections and communities. Lesson proper for Week 10 completion requirements. Introduction to the material economic self and consumer personality in today's consumer-driven world. Understanding why we buy what we buy goes beyond mere necessity. Our purchases are influenced by a range of psychological factors, including our personality traits, our self-concept, and how we wish to be perceived by others. This lesson delves into the concept of the material or economic self, examining how our personality shapes our relationship with material possessions and the decisions we make as consumers. One of the primary aspects of consumer psychology is understanding how individual personality traits influence buying behavior. The Big Five personality traits, openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism, help us categorize and predict these behaviors. For example, someone high in openness may be more inclined to try new products, while a highly conscientious individual may research extensively before making a purchase. Recognizing these personality types allows us to see how much of our consumer choices align with our self-perception or self-concept, which includes how we currently view ourselves and the ideal version we aspire to become. Additionally, we'll explore the consumer purchasing process, examining the steps and stages people generally go through when making decisions, from recognizing a need to post-purchase reflection. This understanding helps us see why we sometimes make quick, low-involvement purchases without much thought, and conversely, why high-involvement purchases demand more reflection and analysis. By exploring the impact of personality and self-concept on buying behavior, this lesson will provide a foundation for students to understand the deeper motivations behind consumer actions and how these behaviors relate to their material and economic selves. This insight not only enhances self-awareness, but also offers a perspective on how marketing strategies can influence personal and economic choices. 1. Understanding personality traits in consumer behavior. Personality influences how people interact with the world, including their buying habits. The Big Five personality traits provide insights into a person's disposition. Openness. People high in openness are willing to try new things and may be drawn to innovative or unique products. Example, Sarah loves trying new foods and products. When a new exotic snack is launched, she's one of the first to buy it due to her high openness to new experiences. Conscientiousness. Highly conscientious people are often careful with their choices, planning purchases carefully. Example, John, a diligent student, researches electronics thoroughly before buying. He compares various brands and reviews to make an informed decision on a laptop, ensuring he chooses one with good reviews and warranty coverage. Extroversion. Extroverts may prefer products that help them socialize or stand out in social settings. Example, Mark, an outgoing individual, is drawn to bold and trendy clothing that allows him to express his personality when meeting new people. Agreeableness. Agreeable people tend to value harmony, which can affect their buying choices. Example, Anna prefers eco-friendly products to feel she is contributing to a positive cause and aligning with her friendly, cooperative personality. Neuroticism. Individuals with high neuroticism may be more influenced by products promising security, calm, or confidence boosts. Example, Lisa, who feels anxious about her skin, invests in skincare products that promise clear, flawless skin, hoping it will help her feel more confident. 2. Personality and self-concept. In buying decisions, people buy products to align with or enhance their self-concept or ideal self, how they view themselves and how they wish to be seen. For instance, many people purchase beauty products or wellness services to bridge the gap between their current self and their ideal self. Example, marketing for eco-conscious products like reusable water bottles and organic skincare targets consumers whose ideal self aligns with environmental responsibility. Tim, who sees himself as eco-conscious, feels motivated to buy these products, believing they reflect his ideal self. 3. The stages of consumer purchasing. Consumers typically follow these steps in their buying process. 1. Realizing the need or want. A consumer recognizes the need for a product or service. Example, Mary sees her friend's skin glowing and realizes she wants to improve her own skincare routine. 2. Information search. The consumer gathers information about potential products to fulfill this need. Example, Mary begins researching brands, reviews, and prices of skincare products. 3. Evaluation of alternatives. The consumer compares different products. Example, Mary compares two popular brands, one affordable but with limited benefits and the other slightly more expensive but with positive customer reviews. For purchase decision, the consumer makes a choice and buys the product. Example, Mary decides to invest in the slightly pricier product after reading glowing reviews about its effectiveness. 5. Post-purchase evaluation. The consumer reflects on their purchase. Example, after using the product for a month, Mary feels satisfied as her skin appears healthier, affirming her purchase decision. 6. Disposal of the product. Eventually, the consumer considers how to dispose of or replace the product. Example, when Mary finishes the product, she decides to recycle the packaging as part of her commitment to sustainability. 4. Low involvement versus high involvement products. Low involvement products. These are inexpensive items, or those with little risk, if the consumer makes a wrong choice. Example, impulse buys at the checkout counter, like gum or a small snack, fall under low involvement. Consumers don't spend much time deciding because they pose little risk. High involvement products. These are usually high-cost or high-risk purchases that require thoughtful decision-making. Example, buying a car is a high-involvement purchase. Emma spends weeks researching different models, safety features, financing options, and warranties to ensure she makes the right choice. Situational examples of consumer personality in action. 1. The impulsive shopper. Low involvement. David sees a new energy drink while checking out at a convenience store. He's not necessarily thirsty but finds the branding appealing, so he buys it. This is a low involvement purchase, made impulsively due to attractive packaging. 2. The mindful purchaser. High involvement. Linda wants a smartwatch that can track her health metrics and assist in managing her work schedule. She carefully considers various brands, comparing specifications, prices, and reviews. This is a high-involvement decision as it involves significant cost and importance for her health. 3. The sensation-seeking traveler. Mark, who scores high in openness, is constantly exploring new experiences. While planning a vacation, he gravitates towards adventure sports packages rather than typical sightseeing tour, as his personality drives him toward thrilling and novel experiences. By understanding personality traits and purchasing behaviors, marketers can create targeted campaigns, while consumers can better recognize how their personality influences their buying decisions. This self-awareness can help consumers make more intentional choices, balancing wants and needs effectively. Lesson proper for Week 11 completion requirements. This lesson explores the intricate relationship between spirituality and religion, focusing on their definitions, distinctions, and cultural significance. Spirituality is more personal. It's our individual search for meaning and purpose in life, and it doesn't always have to be connected to a formal religion. For example, some people feel spiritual through nature, art, or meditation. On the other hand, religion is more organized. It involves shared beliefs, rituals, and practices within a community, like attending church, following traditions, or celebrating religious holidays. That's why some people describe themselves as spiritual but not religious. Now, in the Philippine context, Catholicism is the dominant religion, practiced by about 85% of the population. We can see its influence in traditions like baptism, Holy Week, and Simbang Gabi. At the same time, indigenous practices are still present in some areas. For example, people still consult healers called albulario or babilan, and many Filipinos continue to respect spirits or unseen beings. There are also Filipino values tied to spirituality and religion. One is bahala na, which means trusting in God or fate when facing challenges. Another is utang na loob, which refers to a deep sense of gratitude and obligation to those who help us, and this can also extend to saints or ancestors. Finally, let's touch on Viktor Frankl's logotherapy. His main message is that life always has meaning, even during suffering. He identified 3 core ideas: the freedom of will, the will to meaning, and the meaning of life. In short, we cannot always control what happens to us, but we can always choose our attitude and how we respond.